In the suburban quiet of Glendale, Arizona, a city not known for mystery or drama, the unexpected disappearance of a young girl shocked the community. This city, with its sprawling malls and quiet streets, forms the backdrop to our story. It's a place where children ride bikes under the endless blue skies, and neighbors know each other by name. But beneath this serene setting, a tale of intrigue and heartache unfolded that challenged the tight-knit community. On September 15th, 2012, Alicia Cristina Navarro, a 14-year-old girl on the brink of her 15th birthday, vanished. A high-functioning autistic teen known for her intelligence and introverted nature, Alicia preferred the realms of digital worlds over the complexities of real-world interactions. Books and video games were her sanctuaries, with Minecraft providing a virtual landscape where she built her dreams, block by block. Her interactions, primarily through screens, allowed her a control over her environment that the real world didn't offer. Alicia's life in Glendale was quiet but complicated. Diagnosed with autism, she navigated daily challenges that made typical social interactions overwhelming. Her home was her safe haven, where she retreated to the comfort of her books and games, finding solace in routines and the predictability of her digital interactions. Yet, her preference for a structured online environment was more than a pastime. It was a vital coping mechanism for her, helping her manage the sensory overloads and social anxieties that crowded her off-screen life. As her 15th birthday approached, no one could have predicted that Alicia's safe, predictable world would shatter, or that her disappearance would become one of Glendale's most perplexing mysteries. What happened to Alicia Navarro? This is a question that not only captivates, but also confounds, opening a Pandora's box of questions about safety, vulnerability, and the very spaces, digital or otherwise, we consider secure. Join us as we unfold the layers of this real-life mystery, examining the clues left behind and the tireless search that followed. This is not just a story of disappearance, but a narrative that challenges our understanding of community, safety, and the hidden struggles of those around us. Jessica, Alicia's mother, moved from Mexico to the United States with dreams of a new start and hopes of providing a better future for her children. Settling in Glendale, Arizona, she faced the many challenges of a single mother after separating from Alicia's father early in her daughter's life. Despite these struggles, she provided a loving and stable home for Alicia and her younger sibling. Jessica later formed a relationship with a man named Ivan, who became a part of their family life. Alicia was born on September 20th, 2004, in Glendale. From an early age, she showed signs of being unlike her peers. Her challenges with social cues and traditional learning environments led to an evaluation that would define much of her young life. Diagnosed with high-functioning autism, Alicia found the world around her overwhelming and often incomprehensible in ways that those not on the spectrum could easily take for granted. Her diagnosis brought clarity to her family, and with it came specialized support that helped her navigate the complexities of daily interactions. School, however, remained a difficult landscape. While intellectually capable, Alicia struggled with the unstructured and socially demanding nature of her environment. To cope, she embraced routines that provided a sense of security and predictability. These routines were not just comforts, but necessities that structured her world and made it manageable. Alicia's interests, though few, were deeply ingrained. Her love for video games, especially Minecraft, was more than entertainment. In these digital realms, she exercised control and creativity, constructing worlds where she made all the rules. These games were her retreat, places where she could interact on her terms, without the unpredictability of real-world interactions. The structured sanctuary of her home life and the virtual worlds she created were safe havens from the sensory and social overload of the outside world. Jessica watched over her daughter's growing independence with a careful eye, aware of the protective bubble that both sheltered and isolated Alicia from the world around her. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance on September 15th, 2012, subtle changes began to manifest in Alicia's behavior, changes that might have hinted at the turmoil within. Traditionally not concerned with her appearance, Alicia suddenly took an interest in cosmetics and fashion, a shift that was unusual enough for Jessica to notice, but not alarming enough to raise immediate concern. These new interests were not just hobbies. They were potential indicators of Alicia's desire to carve out a new identity or perhaps pressures to conform to social norms that she found online. Her wardrobe, once simple and unassuming, started to feature more vibrant and varied styles. This change coincided with her spending more time online, where she interacted with peers in virtual spaces that were less intimidating than face-to-face conversations. While these platforms offered her a way to socialize on her terms, they also exposed her to a broader range of influences, which seemed to be impacting her real-world choices and behaviors. This period also saw Alicia withdrawing more into her room, her safe space, where she surrounded herself by the books she adored and the computer screens that connected her to worlds where she felt more in control. Her time spent online late into the night increased, and she often appeared tired during the day. The lines between her virtual interactions and her real-world existence began to blur, making her online activities a significant concern for Jessica, who struggled to understand the extent of her daughter's digital life. These behavioral shifts were not merely signs of a teenager navigating the trials of adolescence, but were perhaps cries for help that went unnoticed until it was too late. The changes in Alicia's interests and habits were subtle yet significant, painting a picture of a young girl trying to redefine herself in the face of unseen pressures and conflicts that she perhaps felt unable to communicate openly. On September 14, 2012, the Navarro family decided to spend the day at a local chocolate factory, a rare treat that brought joy to Alicia. The factory's sensory-rich environment, the sweet smell of chocolate and the vibrant packages, was challenging yet enchanting for her. That day, Alicia seemed genuinely happy, laughing and engaging with her family in ways that had become uncommon due to her increasing isolation. This outing appeared to be a bright spot during a time filled with so many internal changes for her. Later that evening, the family returned home and settled into their usual routines. Dinner passed quietly with Alicia participating in light conversation, an interaction that gave no indication of her inner turmoil or the dramatic turn the next day would bring. After dinner, Alicia retreated to her room, her sanctuary, as the rest of the family wound down for the night. Her mother, Jessica, checked in on her once, seeing her daughter absorbed in her computer screen, seemingly at peace in her digital world. The morning of September 15, 2012, unfolded like any other Saturday until Jessica noticed the silence from Alicia's room was deeper than usual. Concern growing, she opened the door to find the room empty, the bed made, and the window ajar. A cold breeze drifted in, carrying the heavy scent of morning dew and a palpable sense of absence. Jessica's heart sank as she noticed the back door was open, suggesting a quiet departure had taken place under the cover of early dawn light. Frantically searching for any sign of her daughter, Jessica discovered a note left on the desk, written in Alicia's hand. The note was simple, yet devastating. "I'm sorry, Mom. I had to leave. I will try to come back. Don't worry, I love you." Beside the note lay Alicia's phone, her charger still plugged into the wall, a clear sign of haste or a decision to sever ties with her digital lifeline. Strikingly, her essential medication, which she took daily to manage her autism-related anxiety and sensory overloads, was also left behind. This medication was crucial for her well-being, making its abandonment a signal of profound distress or overwhelming compulsion. Her computer, a portal to her online worlds where she felt control and comfort, was gone, suggesting that wherever Alicia had planned to go, she intended to stay connected to the digital realms that shaped so much of her identity. The scene painted a complex picture of a planned escape tempered with reluctance, evidenced by the items she chose to take and those she left. As the reality set in, Jessica's panic transformed into action as she called the police, her voice trembling as she reported her daughter missing. The search for Alicia Navarro began amidst a swirl of confusion, fear, and an urgent hope for her safe return. Immediately after Alicia's disappearance on the morning of September 15, 2012, Jessica activated every resource available to find her daughter. She contacted the Glendale Police Department, who promptly began an investigation into the missing teenager's whereabouts. The officers issued an Amber Alert and organized search parties to comb the local area. Search dogs were brought in to trace Alicia's scent, starting from the open back door through which she had presumably left. The community's response was swift and supportive. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers joined the search efforts, distributing flyers and sharing information. The local media picked up the story quickly, broadcasting Alicia's photo and details across news channels and online platforms, which amplified the urgency of finding her. Jessica took to social media, posting updates and pleas for help on her Facebook and Twitter accounts, which were shared thousands of times. These posts not only spread the word, but also brought the community closer together in their shared hope for Alicia's safe return. Jessica organized nightly candlelight vigils, where the community gathered to show support and pray for Alicia's safety. These vigils served as both a beacon of hope and a rallying cry for continued efforts. Local businesses contributed by displaying posters and flyers, and the local radio stations frequently mentioned Alicia's case, urging the public to report any information that might lead to finding her. As days turned into weeks, the initial surge of activity transitioned into a more sustained search effort. Jessica set up a dedicated hotline for tips, and the police worked through dozens of calls every day, but none led to a concrete lead. The use of social media continued to be a critical aspect of the search, with virtual volunteers from across the country joining the effort to spread Alicia's story and comb through online data that might offer clues to her location. The extensive media coverage and community mobilization highlighted not only the desperation and profound hope of a mother seeking her child, but also the power of a unified public response. Despite the growing fear with each passing day, the resolve to find Alicia never wavered. Jessica's relentless pursuit, supported by the community and amplified by the media, underscored the case's impact on the local community and reached far beyond Glendale, drawing national and even international attention to the search for Alicia Navarro. This collective effort maintained pressure on investigators and kept Alicia's story in the public consciousness, ensuring that she would not be forgotten. For nearly 4 years, Alicia Navarro lived a life cloaked in mystery far from her home in Glendale, Arizona. After her disappearance on September 15th, 2012, she ended up over 1,000 miles away in a small, nondescript town in Montana. This town, characterized by its sparse population and quiet rural landscapes, became the unexpected backdrop to a crucial chapter of her life. Alicia lived with Edmund Eddie Davis, a man much older than her. Eddie, at the time 32, was described by neighbors as a loner with few friends and minimal community interaction. Their home was modest, set on the outskirts of town, surrounded by miles of open land that provided privacy and isolation from the prying eyes of a close-knit community. Inside, the living conditions were basic, with minimal furnishings and the essentials needed to sustain a quiet, unremarkable existence. The relationship between Alicia and Eddie was complex, shaped significantly by her autism and her resultant vulnerabilities. Eddie became both a companion and a protector, roles that he seemingly embraced, but this dynamic also created an imbalance, raising concerns about dependency and control. Alicia, likely craving stability and familiarity in the face of her new, disorienting environment, might have found Eddie's presence reassuring, at least initially. Despite the physical distance from her family, Alicia maintained her connection to the digital world, a lifeline that sustained her in her isolated state. She continued to engage with online platforms and games, which were not just pastimes, but essential components of her social interaction. These activities likely provided a semblance of normalcy and a connection to her life before the disappearance. Eddie did not encourage visits from outsiders and preferred to keep their life private, which meant few knew of Alicia's true situation or state of mind during these years. This privacy shielded their lives from scrutiny and also obscured the full nature of their relationship from view, raising unanswered questions about the dynamics within their home. Throughout this period, Alicia's mother, Jessica, remained in Arizona, unaware of her daughter's whereabouts and condition. The uncertainty and lack of closure took a heavy emotional toll, compounded by the frustrating lack of progress in the investigation back home. Meanwhile, Alicia's life in Montana, marked by isolation and secrecy, continued until her eventual reappearance at a local police station in early 2023, a move that would finally shed light on her years in the shadows. On a cold morning in early 2023, the quiet of a small Montana police station was disrupted by an unexpected visitor. Alicia Navarro, now 18, walked through the doors, her appearance much changed from the young girl who had vanished nearly 4 years earlier, on September 15th, 2012. Her hair was longer, her frame taller, and her eyes held stories of experiences far beyond her years. She approached the front desk with a quiet confidence, declaring her name and her desire to be removed from the National Missing Persons List. Alicia's reappearance was as startling as her initial disappearance. She calmly explained that she had been living in Montana of her own volition, but now wished to reconnect with her family in Arizona. The police, while processing her claim, were cautious, verifying her identity through numerous checks and cross-referencing missing persons reports. Once her identity was confirmed, the reality of her long absence began to sink in. The local authorities arrested Edmund Eddie Davis later that day. He was taken into custody without incident from the home he shared with Alicia. The initial interrogation sought to uncover the nature of their relationship and the circumstances under which Alicia lived with him. Questions about coercion, manipulation, or any form of abuse were at the forefront of the investigation. Eddie's computer and other digital devices were seized, and his home was searched for additional evidence. Simultaneously, an emotional reunion unfolded as Alicia contacted her mother for the first time in years. The call, though filled with tears of joy and relief, was also laden with the heavy weight of the years lost and the experiences unshared. Jessica, overwhelmed by her daughter's return, prepared for her immediate trip to Montana. Their in-person reunion was a poignant scene of mixed emotions. Joy at Alicia's safe return clashed with deep-seated trauma and unanswered questions about her disappearance and life in Montana. In the weeks that followed, Alicia underwent psychological assessments and medical evaluations, which confirmed her general health, but also indicated signs of psychological stress likely caused by her prolonged isolation and the complex dynamics of her relationship with Eddie. The community's response was a complex tapestry of relief, suspicion, and a deep desire for understanding. The investigation continued, focusing on deciphering Alicia's life over the past years, piecing together how a vulnerable teenager managed to live so long away from home, and what could be done to prevent such occurrences in the future. As Eddie Davis faced charges related to his involvement with Alicia, the legal proceedings were set to determine not just the legal ramifications, but also to explore the deeper, more troubling aspects of human relationships and vulnerability. The case of Alicia Navarro had opened up discussions about safety, the influence of digital worlds on young minds, and the enduring strength of familial bonds.
Hello everybody, hola todos. Al final voy a hacer este video en español. At the end I will do this video in Spanish. I do feel I owe this video to the community and to God, because first of all I want to give glory to God for answering their prayers and for this miracle. For everyone who has missing loved ones, I want you to use this case as an example that miracles do exist and never lose hope and always fight. My daughter, Alicia Navarro, was missing since September 15, 2019. She has been found safe. I do not know the details. I do confirm that she is my daughter, she is alive, and she is safe. This is recent news for me. It was an hour before it was posted in social media and the news. I don't have details, but the important thing is that she is alive. And I want to thank the community and God for all that you have done.
The case of Alicia Navarro, which began with her disappearance on September 15, 2012, and ended with her reappearance in early 2023, has unfolded numerous emotional and legal layers. It has revealed the critical importance of community vigilance and the complex interplay between mental health and the digital realms young people navigate today. Alicia's story, particularly her life under the guardianship of Edmund Eddie Davis in Montana, highlights the vulnerabilities of those with psychological needs and how easily they can be manipulated or led astray, especially without proper medication and support. This case has also emphasized the enduring strength of familial bonds and community effort. Jessica's relentless search and the public's extensive support network played pivotal roles in keeping Alicia's case alive. As we look towards Alicia's future, her reintegration into society poses numerous challenges, but also offers her opportunities for healing and growth. As the legal processes continue, many questions remain. What were the full dynamics of Alicia's relationship with Eddie? How will Alicia manage her transition back into a world much changed since she left? Her journey invites us to reflect on our roles in supporting the vulnerable among us and to remain ever vigilant in an increasingly digital world. Alicia's return does not mark the end of her story, but the beginning of another chapter, one that all of us are a part of in fostering a safer, more understanding community.